How are students feeling after Tuesday's gubernatorial debate? And what student organization is rolling its way through campus? We'll have more on Panther Report News.
Hello and welcome to Panther Report News. I'm Viviana Munguia.
And I'm Destiny Elliott. Happy Homecoming Week, GSU.
That's right, Georgia State and the Spotlight Program Board hosted a week full of events, including Georgia State's Got Talent. Did you get a chance to go?
Yes, I did, and actually Georgia State's Peerless Perfection won $500.
Wow, that's a lot.
It sure is.
Many watched the gubernatorial debate on Tuesday, including the young Democrats of Georgia State, who held a watch party. Reporter Kevin Sanchez has a coverage of what students feel.
I think that the Libertarian candidate really likes weed. He really is passionate about that.
Just a few weeks away from Georgia's midterm election, gubernatorial candidates go head-to-head at the Loudermilk Young Debate Series. The Young Democrats of Georgia State University are getting in on the action and are hosting a debate watch party. Moments of surprise, concern, and relief fill the faces of young voters like Danae Roche. She turns her attention to a debate monitored across the country. For Roche, education draws her attention.
Yes, okay, well, I'm an early childhood education major, and I am so happy that she pushed for early childhood education. And I know Brian Kemp just said the funding for teachers because he wanted that good vote because everything else he said was BS. But yes, that really got me. So.
Senior Ebony Carter, organizer of the watch party, says the debate was a hopeful look into the election results.
I think this may be an election that turns America around for the better.
Among the new voters is Charles Lang, a freshman who doesn't agree with Kemp's platform.
It's just a lie that they're using to try to justify their efforts to throw people off the rolls, to basically try to steal this election from the candidate who is obviously more qualified, more experienced, and has a better vision for Georgia, Stacey Abrams.
I'm Kevin Sanchez for Panther Report News.
Voters registered in Fulton County were able to vote early at a polling place in Dahlberg Hall. As we know, the midterm elections have garnered national attention, but one gubernatorial candidate has not been made aware to some. Reporter Tyrik Wynn talks to students about their opinion on the Libertarian candidate Ted Metz.
I'm standing outside of Dahlberg Hall, and this is where some of you have come to cast your ballot for Georgia's next governor. But you probably didn't think about that there could be a potential runoff.
I did not know there was a third-party candidate running.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a third-party candidate.
No, I did not, but I also think there should be, though.
There should have been a third party, not sure who it is, though.
Those are just a few responses I received when I asked students on campus if they knew a third-party candidate was running for governor. If you watched the gubernatorial debate, you probably noticed another candidate alongside the Democratic and Republican frontrunners. His name is Ted Metz, candidate for the Libertarian Party. Michael Biskey plans to vote on November 6th, and he says he didn't know there was another candidate either.
No, I was not aware that there was a third candidate. I was only aware of the Democratic and Republican nominees.
Biskey says he was not informed about the third-party candidate because Metz has not been covered enough in the media.
They're not as much in the main news as much as, say, the other two, like the Democrats and the Republicans, so I wasn't aware of that.
Since there is more than two candidates running for governor of Georgia, there could potentially be a runoff between two candidates. Biskey says there may be a possibility.
I think there could be. I wouldn't necessarily say there would be, but I think there could be.
In an exclusive interview with Panther Report, Metz said once elected governor of Georgia, he will end corruption, make government accountable to the people, and lower taxes. Tyrik Wynn for Panther Report News.
Last week, we heard from officials that students are now able to change their preferred names on the university's directory, roster, and iCollege. Kara Nelson has the full story. Kara?
Due to personal and cultural reasons, many students on campus prefer to go by names other than their legal names. Georgia State implemented a policy that allows students to change their names in the university applications.
To be able to change your name, you'll have to go into Go Solar, and in your personal information, there's actually a tab. You'll have to do it within the first couple of weeks of a semester. and you can go in once per semester and change your name, and you can add a preferred name, first and last name, and it will then change everything in the banner system. So that means everything from Go Solar to iCollege to Pause, all of that stuff will be changed. It just won't change anything that requires your legal name to be printed on it. So for example, your diploma will still have your legal name written on it.
The policy was put into place this fall for students to submit their preferred names and go by them in a university application.
So this definitely means that trans and otherwise gender nonconforming students will have this ability to have their name changed, and that avoids a lot of issues coming into a new class where you have to explain your entire identity basically to your professors, your classmates, and it can be a very distressing process. So that kind of can eliminate that for students.
Georgia State is still actively working to create a safe environment for all their students.
For example, instead of like calling roll, why don't you just try having your students introduce themselves, because they know who they are. So just take them at their word. Believe them when they say who they are. So that's since then, that's what we're trying to do, is do a bottom-up approach to meet the top-down approach and see how we can keep improving.
At Georgia State, I'm Kara Nelson for Panther Report.
Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States for all ages, and oftentimes it's not spoken about. One student is telling her story and the advice she has for others. Reporter Kelsey Perkins has that for us.
It's important for everyone to learn how to help yourself, friends, or family members who may be depressed and that could be at risk of self-harm. Approximately 1.3 million adults made at least one suicide attempt in their lifetime. I sat down with Georgia State student Lachey Johnson, who attempted suicide but has now recovered and shares her story as a mental health advocate.
How things make you feel. If you don't address that you're getting overwhelmed, if you don't express that to somebody or, seek some type of help, things can get overwhelming. October actually is the anniversary of that suicide attempt and of that, chapter in my life. I was very much immersed in my social life and talking to my friends and putting on this facade of okay and happiness when truly deep down inside I wasn't. At the end of the day, when I'm going home and when I'm in my bed alone, all of these thoughts are going in my mind, and I'm very, very worrisome about, tomorrow, and these thoughts can attack you, especially if you don't address them.
Johnson has one lasting advice for those who are suffering from depression and anxiety.
It doesn't take a suicide attempt to realize that you're worthy and that you're needed and that, you have a purpose. It doesn't take that to see it.
Georgia State offers free therapy sessions and one-on-one counseling. Dr. Griffith talks more about the free health care for students.
We also have group therapy, so we have several different groups. We have a group for students who have attempted suicide to kind of help them with the safety plan, so that if they start feeling they're having some kind of triggers, like sometimes their triggers might be, exams or the anniversary of when someone died, then they kind of, we get them to think about what are the things that trigger you, and then have a plan of things that you're going to do to kind of stay alive. Coming to counseling is a way to prevent these thoughts, because a person will have an outlet, a place where they can come and they can talk about whatever's on their mind.
The Counseling and Testing Center also provides a 24-hour crisis line available for students at 404-413-1640. Even though Suicide Prevention Month was in September, it's time to make it all year round. If you are in a crisis or know anyone in a crisis, please contact the Suicide Prevention Lifeline down below. From the GSTV office, I'm Kelsey Perkins for Panther Report News.
In an effort to make a change, one student is providing communities with supplies for the cold weather.
Stay warm. As the weather gets colder, everyone is preparing for the days to come. Some GSU students are coming together to provide blankets and other supplies for the homeless around downtown Atlanta. Tuesday, student Edwin Ayala and other GSU students went around Woodruff Park and other locations around the campus to give out blankets and coffee. Edwin explains how he came up with the idea.
See, I've been here for 2 years already in the downtown campus, and I've seen a lot of necessities like that people have, like seeing them in the cold. And considering that I sell blankets as like my business, I thought it was ungrateful of me not giving back to the community. So one day I just had the idea, let's buy a bunch of blankets and let's hand them out to the homeless people here.
Student organization is rolling its way across campus.
That's right. A team of skaters have joined forces and formed the Roller Girls of GSU. Take a look.
We have a new organization called the Roller Girls of GSU. Let's hear from a few members of this roller derby team to find out more about the sport and why you might want to join the team.
I wanted to start a roller derby team at Georgia State. About a year ago, I started to actually work on the project.
Freshman Alexis Robinson explains the game.
There are 5 opposing players from each team on the track at the same time. The 5th player is called the jammer, and her job is to score the points. So basically, she's trying her hardest to get through the 4 opposing players, and each opposing player's hips that she passed, she gets a point.
Mikayla Springs tells her experience on the team so far.
My experience on the team so far is just having a great place to meet other people that will always lift you up.
Students explain why they personally enjoy the sport.
Roller derby encourages girls to be loud and to be strong. It's very empowering. It's one of the most inclusive, positive groups of women I've ever been a part of, and I look forward to coming to practice every week. Our biggest goal for the year is to play a game and to have people come out and watch us and support us and just see all of the hard work that we've put into this.
The Roller Girls of GSU will start competing in games spring of 2019. You can follow them on Instagram at Roller Girls of GSU. From the Atlanta Roller Girls practice facility, I'm Karlie Alexandria from Panther Report.
The African Student Association hosted an event highlighting the food, music, and clothes of African culture. I had a chance to see it all. Take a look.
The African Student Association hosts Taste of Africa, bringing Africans together through arts and culture.
Students made their way to Dahlberg Hall for a showcase of African heritage and talent.
African culture is important to me because it defines who we are, where we come from, how we dance. People who are not African, they always wonder who we are, what do we do, why do we do what we do, the types of dances we do, and we just like to express ourselves.
We like to have fun, we have great food, and we accept everybody. You don't have to be African to come here. You can be any type of background and still come here and have fun.
The DJ turned up the music for the moments everyone had been waiting for. Groundbreaking dance moves, hip-swinging rhythm, an intensive step show, fashion competition, and skit took the night away. The overall purpose of the event was to keep students connected to their culture while away from home.
In America, I don't want to lose my culture and lose who I am and where I come from.
I'm Destiny Elliott for Panther Report News.
Here's an interesting one for you.
We had a midweek lesson just about 5 minutes ago, and at the end we had 2 people who want to get baptized and commit their lives to Christ. That's simply what just happened.
Students gather and watch as the Alpha Omega Ministry perform baptisms in the Library Plaza water fountain late Tuesday evening.
Well, that's our show. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms at GSU PRN.
Also, subscribe down below and please let us know what you think in the comments. We hope to see you all at the homecoming tailgate and football game. I'm Viviana Munguia.
And I'm Destiny Elliott. We'll see you next week.